My name is Rohan Albal. By the virtue of being here in front of you on the stage, I am in possession of a great opportunity to talk to you about my entrepreneurial journey, or rather, what I've learned in my last 7 years or 8 years of Power Drift. So, it is an opportunity to talk to you about a question that is often asked, that often occupies ourselves almost nearly every day. It sounds a little materialistic here, the question as to how will I be successful? That's the question. But it's not materialistic. I think it stands to reason that there are also a lot of answers to this question. Sir, you would know it best. A lot of answers that are wrong, a lot of answers that are right. And so I will take it upon myself here today, since you give me the honor, to separate the chaff from the haystack so that we find the needle. And I'll do that by trying to narrate you an answer that is built upon my own experiences and my own personal failures. Every human being is different, we know that. Every person sitting here is special. And yet all of us have a lot in common. Like the question, once again, I will throw it in the air. How will I be successful? Well, certainly not by asking this question every single day. There have to be answers. So we'll get started with the first answer that I think is going to get us somewhere. Priyanka, you spoke about by finding what you love doing the most. I think every speaker here that has already spoken or will be speaking will identify with one thing, which is passion. The meaning of this entire line is passion. By finding what you love doing the most. I can't harp enough on this, right? If you don't know what you love doing the most, I feel it's going to be very, very tough for you to be successful. It's very important because if you are doing something that you love, then you don't have Mondays. You don't have Tuesdays. You don't have those Fridays and Saturdays where you're relieved, there's no more work to be attended. And in that sense, you become a doer. Have you heard this word before? Doer? Doer is someone who keeps doing. And doer is someone to whom nobody needs to be telling that he needs to be doing. So it's all self-initiated. There's a lot of self-initiation in there. Each one of us needs to be that if we plan on being successful. So it's easier to perceive a failure. It's easier to endure hardships. And it is something that will never make you want to quit. That's important. Now, unless you don't love what you're doing, or if you don't love what you're doing, you're going to quit. It's hard out there. It's not very easy. So, one hack here though, how do you find out what it is that you love doing the most? Because, okay, it's easy. You can read this from any book, by the way, that you must have the passion to be doing what you love doing. How do you find it out? I don't know if it's allowed at a TEDx talk, but can we make it a little interactive? How many of you guys still haven't found what you love doing? Don't raise your hands, but just play the question in your mind here. I have a hack for this, which is what I use for my own self. When I started out with Power Drift. Literally asked myself this question: what is it that I want to be doing for the rest of my life that no one would even pay me for? And I'm fine with that. If there is something in your mind that you want to be pursuing for the rest of your life, and you're fine with no one ever paying you for it, that's the thing you love doing the most. If the answer is yes to that thing, say X. If the answer is yes, bam, you have a success formula. Start doing it, and like you said, don't ever stop doing it. That's the formula to success. Moving on to the next point is, of course, very similar to what you said again, Michael, where you want to be connecting to people by finding like-minded people who love what you do. This is building up on our last point. If you are in the company of people who love what you love doing, then there's a large set of people who are doing what they're loving to do, which means the output naturally, logically, mathematically will be far better output than just you alone. So finding like-minded people in today's day and age is also called as creating a team. It's year 2021, by the way. Goodbye, 2020. Teamwork is very, very important. You cannot imagine big success without a great team. Now, if you are in the company of these people, let's say alone you are able and strong, by the way, which all of us here in this room are, But if you're in the company of people who are like-minded, passionate about what you are passionate about, you, pay attention, become unstoppable. This is the story of every successful person in the world. They had great team. There is nothing great that you can achieve without great people. No great wars were won without great generals. You need to have a great team. You need to find like-minded people. By this, of course, don't get it wrong. If you love wasting time, don't find people who love wasting time, yeah? Okay, we can move on to the third point, which is pretty simple. It sounds very simple, guys. I don't know why the world overlooks this point. When I started out with my company, I could hardly speak English. It was very difficult. By having great communication skills is the answer. Perhaps we'll come to it if you ask the question, how will I be successful? I mean, come on. If you are unable to get your feelings and emotions across to the other person, how do you expect cooperation or support or synergies or teamwork to happen between you and your society? It's not possible. It's never going to be possible. You could say, I will be a painter and I'll lock myself in the room and I'll paint all my life and no one will know. That's not success, right? I mean, it's not. So communication skill is a very, very, very important skill. Now, some people have come up to me and said, yeah, but my mom loves me and now I don't need any communication skill between those whom I love. And that's just not true. If you want to develop a working relationship at your professional environment, there where you work, or if you want to have a very, very loving relationship in your personal life, communication is where the ball will stop. If you're good at it, you'll be good at both, at home and at work. So communication, very important. Of course, this is something that you all must have heard before, that communication is important. How do you really inculcate or develop the habit of good communication? So what I did is what I want to tell you, which is a hack again for me in life. I wanted to get better at English language. So I sat down with what I thought to be a complicated English book. The name was Great Expectations. You must have read it. Sir Charles Dickens. And I couldn't make head or toe of what he was writing. And at the first very page, my name is Pip. I called myself Pip and I came to be called as Pip. Very difficult lines. My point is, my hack is, you sit down and read a book if you want to get better at communication with a pencil in your hand. And you underline every single word that you don't understand and you refer that to the dictionary. And you create special brackets for sentences that impress you, that you want to use later on in your life. Put your mouth into the forms of saying, right? When you do that, when you don't turn over the page unless you have grasped everything that there is to be grasped on that one single page, is when communication will be learned. Now, of course, this is for English. You want to learn some other language, then you have to do the same with the other language. Slight bit of thing here is that reading is important, of course, then if you want to learn communication. Ladies and gentlemen, I can assure you, half of life's battles are won with good communication. You don't need more. We'll jump on to our fourth point. This is a very simple point, but it's often misunderstood. In my course of experience, it was misunderstood by my own self. I thought, being good to people, why will I be that? Nobody's ever been good to me. When I needed food or I was hungry, well, I was not that poor, but, no. I liked what he brought in his tiffin. He didn't give it to me. I needed some money to buy an expensive phone. Nobody ever gave me that money. My father didn't give me that money. He said, no, earn your own money. I have come to realize what it means to be good to people now, and I want to share that with you. Being good to people does not mean giving them your food, being a philanthropist, distributing money. Being good to people means do not blame them. You know how important this is? Much of our lives we are spending not even knowing, involuntarily blaming people. Don't blame no teacher, don't blame your father, don't blame your children, no friends. You cannot blame anyone. That's being good to people. Being good to yourself is blaming yourself, by the way. It's nice to blame yourself, take ownership of your life, take charge, be accountable for all that is happening to you in your life. That's being good to people. When you start to do that, you know what starts to happen? People that you're spending time with, they start being helped by your mere presence. And then they feel enabled, they feel empowered, and then they feel inspired. You see, you're halfway there to success, because if you are inspiring people, you're on your way to becoming a leader. No leader becomes a leader without inspiring. You'll give me that. So if you enable, empower, and inspire people, you're halfway there, but you aren't going to do any of that to any person if you keep blaming people. And mind you, I know most of you are thinking, I don't blame anyone. I promise you, it's an involuntary thing. It's a habit. Maybe nobody taught you it. It's just the way you grew up in this society. All over the world, it's the same thing. All right, let's move on to the next point. By being honest, it's year 2021. If you've been looking around at the politics in the world or the United States, honesty is not a virtue anymore. But I said be good to people. Being honest is just a part of that. If you're not honest, how are you going to be good to people? This is unfortunately a value and a lesson that I learned very late in my life. When I said of my personal failures, this was my biggest failure of life. I learned it late because it was, of course, very easy to, be dishonest and get out of tricky situations than suffer the moment. Some of you guys might call it white lies, whatever name you give it, but it's just easy to get out of tricky situations and be dishonest about it because you don't want to suffer the moment. Later on, you will realize that it's far easier to suffer the moment than suffer a whole lifetime. There is no value in being dishonest. At our young age, it's difficult to see this point. That's why I want to stress on it. I remember as a child, my geography teacher, we all came back from summer vacation, and my geography teacher asked, stand up, where did you go for your summer vacation? I said, I spent most of my childhood and my teenage years in trying to project something that I wanted to be, but I yet wasn't. So when she asked me the question, where had I been? I said, Nigeria Falls. And she corrected, saying, it's Niagara Falls, sit down. I knew to my mind that she has seen through my dishonesty. I knew to my mind. But I thought, yes, of course, it's Niagara Falls. I was trying to project myself. I was trying to project something to the classroom, to the world, to the teacher, to myself. That's what I wanted to be. I mean, clearly I wanted to be in front of this huge waterfall. In my own imagination, nothing wrong with that. Today I can dismiss it as a childhood innocence. But if this habit continues, I know it spells doom. I didn't want to use the word doom here. It's a lot of positive, I feel a lot of positive vibes here. It's a great environment. Coming with the word doom on the stage is just bad, but I want you to associate doom with dishonesty. Yeah? Now, the whole of social app instant gratification is not really helping youngsters understand the value of honesty either. All of you guys use Instagram? I'm so attached to Instagram, I won't let go of my phone here, even on the stage. Not really, but the whole of Instagram tool, it's a tool to project something to the world. And if I told you that I rode a unicorn and I put a photo of that, you're going to like it. You will like it, right? I will be projecting something to you. Remember, it's a tool. It's not bad. Use the tool right. Use it to project your own self. Don't be dishonest. Don't try to have a breakfast on a Sunday morning at an expensive place and say, just another day, right? Yeah, people do that. People do that. All those who are laughing right now, you seem to have done it once in your life, I guess. Yeah? No matter how small or insignificant you think you are, it doesn't really matter that you think like that, but it doesn't. No matter how small or insignificant you think you are, Be yourself. It will pay dividends in the long run. Be honest. Yep. Remember, what are we talking about here? We're talking about finding answers to the question, how will I be successful? Yeah? Let's move on to the next one. Oh, this is my personal favorite. By having heroes. Who doesn't love heroes? Avengers, DC Comics, Batman, Superman. Why do you think kids grow up watching heroes? We need them. Without heroes, we are lost. We need having heroes because if you don't know what is the pinnacle of humankind or what is possible by a man or a woman, how will you ever be it? If you don't know what is the pinnacle, can you really reach the pinnacle? It's kind of a philosophical question, right? Same can be extrapolated to God. If you don't know what God is, how will you ever find him or her? But let's restrict ourselves here to the scope of topic. If you don't know what is the pinnacle, you can't find the pinnacle. So, okay, let go of comics, but let's look at the history. History has a lot of heroes. Wonderful heroes, I can't believe it. Napoleon Bonaparte was the first guy to lift up the crown and put it on top of his own head. You know anyone else who did that? Nobody ever did that. Alexander the Great, Sikandar, conquered the whole known world. Nobody had ever done that. Neil Armstrong landed on the moon. Must be an inspiration to many. Jeff Bezos opened the biggest retail store in the world. Elon Musk of the present times is the real-life Iron Man, right? So, have heroes. Occupy yourself with the lives and the learnings of those heroes. In history, it's far easy because you can just look at what they taught. Alexander was taught by Aristotle. Oh my God, what a teacher, what a mentor. Let me learn that. What were the philosophies? Make a concoction of your own philosophy. Call it your own, no problem in that, and try your life out that way. Compare yourself to your heroes. Try and be your heroes. When in times of distress and difficulty, think what your hero would do, not what Batman would do. Yeah? Or what Batman would do if you go by the Rises movie, yeah? Dark Knight Rises. It's pretty good in there. Yeah? This is very important. I'll tell you one thing. If you have a hero in life, mine ones are usually in the past, not in the present, you will be very confident. You'll feel like you're getting somewhere. Yep. All right, let's move on to the next point. I think this is our last point, right? It is, because if you see, my first point was finding what you love to do. My last point is by being happy. You will be successful by being happy. Now, this point circles back to the first point in so many different ways, it's not even funny. If you haven't found out what you love doing yet, tell me, how are you going to be happy? Being happy means finding yourself. You find yourself. You know who you are. There's no more projection. You know a hero. That's what you aspire to be. But I'm happy if I know myself right now. Finding yourself is being happy. Being happy means you're not distressed. Being happy means you're satisfied. Being happy means your ego doesn't come in your way. Ever heard the name or term ego? It's huge, by the way. It's very difficult to escape. Maybe you shouldn't escape it. Maybe you should just be happy, because when you're happy, the ego doesn't come in your way because you learn to let go. Say someone said something wrong to me right now, and if I were happy, I'll just say, forget about it. I'll let go. I'll make peace with it. It's very important to be successful. Being happy makes you positive. Like there's a lot of positive energy here. It's a good part of the day, right? You're all happy. Your state of mind is going to define, build, and shape you like nothing else does. How you think is what you are, or what you think is who you are. So if you are happy, you will be successful. Today, thanks for the wonderful introduction with the video, by the way. Today, I'm the CEO and the co-founder of an automotive media company. It's called Power Drift, valued more than 100 crores. Much of my success I owe to my co-founder, Amit Shetty. And almost all of our success that we built together, we owe to our team members who relentlessly go on putting in hours and hours towards our common goal. It started out with passion. It started out because we loved cars and bikes. Every single person came from a middle-class background. We couldn't even think of buying a car until we were 30. Today, I have an imported Mitsubishi Evolution 9 rally car that's 680 horses. I have a 700 horsepower GTR supercar, 1,000 horsepower Toyota Supra drag car. I had limited edition superbikes, only 500 made in the world, the most amount of automotive followers in India. You can say I'm an influencer, YouTube celebrity. I have investors who are ready to listen to me and pay money on my ideas. More importantly, I have people like you who love me, or fans who respect me, but that is not why I am successful. I am successful because my mom thinks I am. Because my dad is proud of me. And I'll tell you what, they don't think of that. They don't think of me as successful because of any money, stature, or belongings that I now have. They just see that I'm successful because they see me happy doing what I'm doing. Today, I'm also a young father, and a father to an 18-month-old kid. What a brilliant, beautiful experience it is. And just like any other parent sitting here in the crowd, Nikhilesh Bhattacharya, you around? Yeah, there, thank you. I saw that wonderful father playing with his kids last evening, and I knew to myself, I'll be mentioning you. I know that I will consider my child successful, which is the question that we ask, by the way. Not if he's poor or rich. None of you guys will think of your children. You'll think the same way I'm thinking, like Nikhilesh is thinking. I will not consider my child successful if he's poor or rich. I will, however, consider him successful only and only if he is happy. Ask any parent out here. That's how they think. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the answer is very loud, and it's very clear, and it's blowing out there in the cold winds of Darjeeling. Your question itself is wrong. You were never to ask, how will I be successful? The right question to ask is, how will I be happy? Asking just this right question, that will make you successful. Thank you very much for your time. You've been a wonderful audience.